was a bit of that was more than a Molotov. That was.
By now, if you're anything like me, you've seen videos like this online everywhere, spreading to every social media site imaginable, yet nearly never in the public eye. And it should come as no surprise that there is a lack of reporting, if any, on these videos. And that brings us to the modern state of war journalism, or conflict journalism, as some people refer to it. Conflict journalism is nothing new. It's been a focus of journalists for years now. But like most news these days, a lot of it is used to either fabricate a story or used as a hit piece only covering conflicts of those right next door. Most of this ends up leaving people's understanding of any major conflict minimal at best and misguided at worst. That was until these guys appeared. Huge conflict journalism, war reporting, media organizations, whatever you want to call them. Some of the biggest ones being Popular Front, Ground News, OAF Nation Actual, Atlas News, Newly the Modern Insurgent, and the list goes on. As these outlets started appearing, they were covering war in a way never seen before. But who are they and where did they come from? Steadily for the past few years, there has been a growing movement of sorts, another proliferation of media quickly spreading throughout the internet. Their reach is wide yet proven to be strong, as they always come back after being censored across most major social media platforms. And by doing this, accruing an occult-like following, desperately trying to resist the forgery of modern and social media. It's something much more direct and personal. It's not the traditional family-friendly footage you're used to seeing that's heavily filtered and easily digestible. I'm talking about the raw news. It's direct events only. People dug in with those on the front lines, were or want to be again. This is real war journalism. Stuff the nightly news doesn't care about or doesn't want you to know. Conflicts they are covering are both large and small, both immediate and past. I'm talking about coverage on active wars as well, such as in Myanmar. These are the conflicts shaping the world without notice, and I can guarantee you that you'll never see most of these types of stories being pushed by traditional media, as it doesn't fit their daily narrative until it's poking them in the face. If you're only starting to hear about these events now, or are as confused as to where these came from, where these outlets originated from, let me explain. What started as Telegram group chats and war footage clip sites quickly evolved past that to garner followers across many different platforms and mediums, to Instagram, Twitter, and trying to break out into YouTube and Facebook. They still keep their roots tight. They do this in the safety of Telegram, as with outside censorship so strong that one post at any moment could spell the end to accounts having hundreds of thousands of followers deleted for at best minor community guideline violations. And yet they often return a few weeks later, even stronger and more robust than before. Regardless of where these outlets originated, the people interested have always been there, albeit not outspoken for the need nor desire of understanding, as they did not even know what it was they were missing out on. War has always been and will always be interesting to people. And in a world where there is constant conflict, it's shameful to ignore anything that isn't directly in front of you. And the views of many of these outlets express this, or at least share a similar sentiment. If you still ask yourself as to why the need for these outlets to share all of this constant war commentary, I invite you to introspectively ask yourself, what is more deserving of the news? What do you think the news should be? As with every waking moment, social media is clamping down on anything deemed abhorrent or against the will of the mass. It should come as no surprise that by me even mentioning these accounts, they are at risk of either being outright deleted or, an arguably worse fate, shadow banned.
Is shadow banning a real thing? And what does that mean?
Right, so if someone posts something that gets marked as false by a fact checker, then it'll get somewhat less shown in
just that post, or all of their posts for the future?
I think that there's, if you do it once, then it's that, and then I think if there's like some history within a page, or there's kind of different rules for pages and groups and different things.
The only thing being suppressed here is information, not extremism. The mainstream media stance on this has been that of anything when facing any sort of opposition. When the mainstream media is faced with an opposing source of information, major news outlets will immediately criticize and misrepresent those reporters in an effort to distance them from credibility and any sort of legitimate journalistic integrity. The social media crusade against hate has caused a mass suppression of otherwise safe media or traditional media, legacy media, this being only felt and noticed when mainstream news outlets are affected. Blinded by censorship, yet they persist, even though the power is no longer with the people to make the decision as to what they can freely see on major media platforms. So-called free speech absolutists will be tested soon, and I can only hope they will make the right decisions. For as long as time has persisted, there has been a disconnect from the front lines to the generals to the war room and to what is allowed to be published in the news. This interesting conflict cannot be suppressed as it has been in the past. The truth can no longer be easily manipulated, and the need to corroborate a witness is almost null. This is the essence of what many of these outlets report on and strive to get correct so that they can verify reports as soon as possible. While still not immune to miscommunication of dates and events, the facts of what happened are still there, direct and facing almost no contradiction. That being said, as the future is always coming and censorship can only go so far without pushback, it's obvious that those outlets will endure and only grow with time. If you're interested in finding out more about what's happening and conflicts going on around the world, I encourage you to check out some of these outlets. These are some of my favorites, and if there's any that you'd recommend, let me know. Just add me in the comments. Thanks for watching.